Listen to me carefully. Stop saying it's too late. Stop convincing yourself that your time has passed, that your dreams expired, that your chance already slipped away. You're not finished, you're not washed up, and you're not too old. The only thing standing in your way is that voice in your head that keeps telling you it's over. I need you to understand something today. As long as you got breath in your lungs, as long as your heart is beating, you still have a chance. It's not too late to go back to school. It's not too late to start that business. It's not too late to repair that relationship. It's not too late to change your life. Too many people give up because they compare themselves to somebody else's timeline. Stop it. You're not them, and they're not you. Some people didn't even discover their gift until their 40s, 50s, or 60s, and they still made history. You don't have to be the fastest. You just have to keep moving forward. The truth is, every day you say it's too late, you're giving yourself permission to quit. And quitters never win. Stop talking yourself out of the blessing. Stop talking yourself out of the grind. And stop talking yourself out of the miracle. The best time to start was yesterday, but the second best time is right now. Get up, dust yourself off, and go after it. Your story isn't over, it's just getting started. And the world is waiting for the chapter only you can write. So stop saying it's too late and start saying it's my time. As long as you are breathing, it is not too late. I don't care what you've gone through. I don't care how many times you failed. I don't care how many people have walked away from you, doubted you, or told you that you'll never make it. If there is still oxygen in your lungs, you still have a chance to change the direction of your life. Too many people wake up and talk themselves out of their future before the day even begins. They say things like, I should have started years ago, or I'm too far behind, or I don't have enough time left. Those words become chains, holding them back from the very thing they've been called to do. But the truth is simple. As long as your heart is beating, your time isn't up. Think about it. Every single breath you take is proof that God is not finished with you yet. You weren't created just to exist, to drift through life like a ghost of what you could have been. You were created with a purpose, and purpose doesn't expire because of age, because of setbacks, or because of mistakes. You might feel like you're behind schedule, but the schedule isn't yours to control. Your job is to keep moving, to keep trying, to keep pushing, because the moment you stop breathing is the only moment it's truly too late. Until then, there's still room to grow, still room to fight, still room to become the person you were meant to be. Too many people look at the calendar and let numbers dictate their destiny. They think because they're 30, 40, 50, or even 60, that is over for them. They tell themselves, I should have done it when I was younger. But what they don't realize is that age can actually be your advantage. With age comes wisdom. With age comes experience. With age comes perspective. There are lessons you've learned that a younger version of you wouldn't have understood. There are doors that couldn't open for you before because you weren't ready to walk through them. So stop cursing your age. Stop cursing your past. Stop cursing your mistakes. And start realizing that everything you've been through has prepared you for this very moment. You think it's too late because you're comparing your story to someone else's. You're looking at the people who seem to get it all right in their 20s, who made millions in their 30s, who had it all figured out while you were still trying to pick yourself back up. But you've got to stop running somebody else's race. Your timeline is not their timeline. Your journey is not their journey. Just because they started earlier doesn't mean you can't finish strong. In fact, sometimes the people who start late end up making the biggest impact because they appreciate the opportunity more. They know what it's like to go without. They know what it's like to feel empty. And when they finally rise, they rise with a fire that no one else can put out. Let me remind you of something powerful. There are countless examples of people who didn't discover their greatness until later in life. They could have said it was too late, but instead they decided to act. They decided to breathe life into their dreams, even when others told them they were crazy. And because they did, we remember their names. They left a legacy. That same opportunity is in front of you. You can decide today that you will no longer speak death over your future by saying it's too late. You can decide that as long as you have breath, you're going to fight, you're going to grow, you're going to move forward. Think about a game of basketball or football. The game isn't over till the clock hits zero. I've seen teams come back from impossible odds because they refused to quit while there was still time on the clock. Your life is the same way. The clock is still ticking and you are still in the game. It doesn't matter if you're down by 20 points. It doesn't matter if everyone in the stands has counted you out. If there's time left, there's hope left. And the only person who can decide the game is over before the clock runs out is you. Don't do it. Don't quit on yourself. Don't end the game early. You might be tired. You might feel like you've been fighting for years and nothing has worked. You might be carrying regret so heavy, it feels like it's crushing your chest. But if you're breathing, you still have a reason to try again. Every breath is another chance to rewrite the story. Every breath is another chance to correct the mistakes. Every breath is another chance to do the thing you've been putting off. And the beauty of life is this. You don't have to do it all at once. You just have to start. One step, one action, one choice in the right direction, and momentum will carry you further than you thought possible. I need you to stop living in the past. Stop replaying the failures like a broken record. Stop rehearsing the moments where you fell short. The past is over. It doesn't own you anymore. What matters is this moment, this breath, this decision. Are you going to waste another day saying it's too late? Or are you going to rise up and claim what's still yours? Are you going to bury yourself alive? Or are you going to breathe life back into your future? Understand this, as long as you're breathing, there is someone waiting for you to fulfill your purpose. There is someone waiting for your book, your song, your invention, your business, your leadership, your story. You think it's too late, but someone else is waiting on you. Someone else's breakthrough is connected to your obedience. Someone else's healing is connected to your courage. Somebody else's hope is connected to your decision to keep breathing and keep moving forward. The danger of saying it's too late is that you kill possibility before it has a chance to live. You abort the mission before it ever takes flight. You convince yourself that you can't before you even try. And when you do that, you rob the world of the gift you were supposed to bring. Don't you dare leave this earth with your music still inside you, with your book unwritten, with your vision unrealized. Don't you dare let the grave be richer because you decided it was too late. You need to wake up every morning with gratitude for the breath in your lungs and treat it like the opportunity it is. It is. That breath is permission. That breath is proof. That breath is your reminder that you still have time. So stop wasting it. Stop procrastinating. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. The perfect moment doesn't exist. The only perfect moment you'll ever have is the one you're living right now. Use it. Seize it. Live it. You might not control how long you get to breathe, but you do control how you use the breaths you've been given. You can use them to complain, to doubt, to regret, or you can use them to build, to fight, to grow, to inspire. Every time you say it's too late, you're wasting breath on lies. But every time you say, I can, I will, I must, you're using that same breath to create life. So I'm telling you again, as long as you are breathing, it is not too late. Don't you dare count yourself out. Don't you dare quit. Don't you dare bury your dreams alive. Take the bread you've been given and turn it into action. Turn it into movement. Turn it into legacy. Because the only day it's too late is the day you stop breathing. And today is not that day. Today is your day. Today is your chance. Today is your time. And as long as you got that breath in your lungs, there's absolutely nothing stopping you from becoming everything you were created to be. Comparison kills destiny. Too many people waste the precious time and energy they've been given, looking at someone else's journey, someone else's timeline, someone else's highlight reel, and then using that as evidence that they don't measure up. Every time you compare yourself to another person, you chip away at your own purpose. You tell yourself you're behind, you're not enough, you don't have what it takes. But what you fail to realize is that destiny is custom made. No two people have the same assignment. No two people are running the exact same race. Your destiny is yours. And the moment you start comparing, you start killing the very thing you were created to fulfill. Comparison is a silent thief. It doesn't come in kicking down the door. It sneaks in quietly, scrolling through your phone, whispering in your ear, reminding you of all the things you think you lack. You see someone younger than you already achieving things you only dream about. You see someone with more followers, more recognition, more money, more stability, and suddenly you're discouraged. You start telling yourself it's too late, you miss your chance. You'll never catch up. But hear me, clearly you don't have to catch up to anyone. You're not supposed to be where they are. You're supposed to be where you are, doing what you were born to do. Destiny is not a race where everyone lines up on the same track and runs toward the same finish line. Destiny is like a fingerprint. It's unique, it's one of a kind. It's designed specifically for you. That's why comparison is so dangerous. When you compare, you dishonor your own fingerprint. You overlook your own gift because you're too busy admiring someone else's. You downplay your own journey because you're obsessed with theirs. And little by little, you kill your own destiny by abandoning it for something that was never meant for you in the first place. Look at history. The greatest people who ever lived weren't great because they were trying to be like someone else. They were great because they embraced who they were. They didn't compare, they didn't conform, they didn't waste time measuring themselves against others. They stood tall in their uniqueness, and that's why we remember them. Can you imagine what would have happened if they had looked around and said, well, so-and-so is already doing it, so there's no point in me trying? The world would be missing masterpieces, inventions, stories, and legacies that shape generations. The truth is, comparison robs you of gratitude. When you're busy looking at what everyone else has, you stop appreciating what you've been given. You stop seeing your blessings. You stop valuing your progress. You start despising your own lane. And once you despise your lane, you stop running in it with passion. You slow down. You second guess. You hesitate. And in that hesitation, your destiny begins to die. Not because you weren't capable, not because you didn't have potential, but because you couldn't stop comparing. You have to remind yourself daily, my timeline is mine. Maybe you didn't get the degree when everyone else did. Maybe you didn't get married when all your friends were walking down the aisle. Maybe you didn't start the business as early as the other guy. So what? Who decided that your destiny had to match theirs? Who said there's one clock ticking for all of us? The only clock that matters is the one inside of you. The one that says, as long as I'm alive, I still have time to fulfill what I was called to do. Comparison is also rooted in a lie. And the lie is that you're not enough. But let me remind you, you are enough right now exactly as you are. Your gifts are enough. Your journey is enough. Your story is enough. The reason you feel like you're not enough is because you're holding yourself up against someone else's picture. But that picture doesn't tell the whole story. You don't see their struggles. You don't see their failures. You don't see the nights they cried themselves to sleep or the years they doubted themselves. You're comparing your behind the scenes to their highlight reel, and that would always leave you feeling less than. The moment you stop comparing is the moment you free yourself to truly live. When you focus on your lane, your pace, your journey, you begin to move with clarity. You begin to move with confidence. You begin to move with peace. And when you do that, your destiny starts to come alive again. Because destiny doesn't require you to be the fastest, the richest, or the most popular. Destiny requires you to be authentic, to be faithful, to be consistent in who you are and what you were created to do. You've got to understand something powerful. Your gift will make room for you. Not their gift, not their talent, not their opportunities, yours. Your gift will open doors, your gift will create opportunities, your gift will bring you before the right people. But if you keep burying your gift under comparison, if you keep doubting your gift because it doesn't look like theirs, then you'll never experience the fullness of your destiny. Stop killing your destiny with comparison. Stop scrolling through social media wishing you were somebody else. Stop rehearsing other people's accomplishments like they're proof that you're behind. Every time you do that, you lose focus on your own race. You lose energy that could have been invested in your own growth. And the saddest part is this. You could spend your entire life comparing and then die without ever knowing what you were capable of. The truth is, comparison isn't just killing your destiny, it's killing your joy. It's killing your peace. It's killing your relationships. It's killing your creativity. It's killing your drive. And you gotta make a decision right now that you won't let it kill you anymore. You gotta declare, I'm done comparing. I'm done measuring my life against someone else's. I'm done dishonoring my own journey. And once you make that declaration, you gotta live it out every single day. Instead of comparing, start celebrating. Celebrate where you are. Celebrate where you are. Celebrate the unique gifts you bring to the table. Celebrate the progress you're making, even if it's small. Celebrate the fact that your story isn't over. Celebrate the breath in your lungs and the opportunity in front of you, because when you live in celebration instead of comparison, destiny flourishes, destiny grows, destiny thrives. You are not behind, stand. You are not too late. You are exactly where you need to be to take the next step. And that's all destiny requires. One step at a time in your lane, on your journey. If you stay faithful to your lane, you will arrive at the destination that was always meant for you. But if you keep comparing, you'll wander, you'll detour, you'll lose yourself, and you'll risk never arriving at all. Comparison kills destiny, but focus gives it life. Discipline gives it life. Gratitude gives it life. Gratitude gives it life. And every single day you wake up, you have a choice. Will you kill your destiny with comparison, or will you feed it with focus? Will you waste your life wishing you were someone else, or will you embrace the gift of being you? You don't need to be them. You don't need their timeline, their success, their applause. You need to be you. You need to honor your gift, honor your journey, honor your destiny. Because the moment you fully embrace you, the moment you stop comparing and start living, that's the moment your destiny comes alive. And once it's alive, nothing and no one can take it away. Every year too late is an excuse. When you wake up in the morning and tell yourself that it's too late to start over, too late to go back to school, too late to chase that dream, too late to get healthy, what you're really doing is giving yourself permission to stay exactly where you are. You're creating a comfortable justification for not moving, not fighting, not stretching, not growing. Too late is the lie you tell yourself so you don't have to face the fear of starting again. Too late is the mask you wear to hide the fact that you don't want to deal with the pain of effort, the vulnerability of failure, or the discipline of consistency. But deep down, you know the truth. It isn't too late. It never was. You've just been using it too late as your excuse. Excuses are easy. Excuses feel safe. Excuses protect your ego from the risk of trying and falling short. If you never try, you never fail. And if you never fail, you never have to deal with disappointment. People cling to too late. It's not that they truly believe the door has closed. It's that they're afraid to even approach the door and see if it will open. Saying it's too late shuts down the conversation before it begins. It keeps you comfortable in your misery. It allows you to blame time instead of taking responsibility. Excuses don't change your life. Excuses don't move you forward. Excuses don't heal you, build you, or grow you. Excuses only chain you to the same place you've always been. Think about how many dreams have been buried under the excuse of it too late. How many books have gone unwritten? How many businesses never started? How many relationships never mended? How many goals never reached? All because somebody decided that time had passed them by. But the truth is, time didn't run out. They quit. Time wasn't the enemy. Their excuses were. And that's the tragedy of excuses. They sound reasonable in the moment, but they leave you with nothing but regret in the end. Excuses are the language of limitation. They shrink your vision. They narrow your focus. They convince you that the only thing left for you to do is accept mediocrity. And the saddest part is people start to believe their own excuses. They repeat them so often that they become truth in their minds. It's too late for me. I'm too old. Well, ye should have started years ago. They rehearse these lines like a script. And after a while, they don't even question them anymore. They just accept them as reality. But reality isn't what you say, it's what you do. And if you act on excuses, you build a reality of stagnation. There's always a choice. You can either choose to believe the excuse or choose to challenge it. You can either choose to stay still or choose to move. And the moment you stop hiding behind a too late and actually take a step forward, you prove to yourself that it was never too late at all. The very act of moving kills the excuse. The very act of starting exposes the lie. The very act of fighting back shows you that time was never the problem. You were. Excuses are heavy. They weigh you down. They sit on your chest and make it hard to breathe. They whisper in your ear at night and tell you that you'll never make it. They rob you of sleep, of joy, of peace. They keep you from fully living. But the moment you drop the excuses, you feel lighter. The moment you stop saying it's too late, you open yourself to possibility. You start to see opportunities that were invisible before, not because they weren't there, but Because excuses blinded you. Excuses cloud your vision, but responsibility clears it. Ask yourself, how many times have you said it too late when what you really meant was a too scared? How many times have you said it too late when what you really meant was a too tired? How many times have you said it too late when what you really meant was a too uncertain? Don't confuse fear with finality. Don't confuse doubt with destiny. You use a too late to cover what you don't want to admit, and you're afraid to try again. But the cure for fear isn't excuses. The cure for fear is action. You gotta stop negotiating with yourself. Every time you say it too late, you're giving yourself a way out. You're making it easier to quit. You're training your mind to accept defeat before the fight even begins. That's why so many people live lives of quiet frustration. They've built a habit of excusing themselves from their own greatness. They've taught themselves to bow out before the race starts. They've convinced themselves that they're too far behind to even run. But you don't lose because you're behind. You lose because you never started. Excuses are contagious. You say it too late enough times, and soon the people around you start repeating it too. They feed off your excuses and you feed off theirs. And together you build a culture of limitation. That's why you gotta be careful who you surround yourself with. If you spend time with people who are always saying, too late, you'll start believing it. But if you spend time with people who refuse to quit, who refuse to accept excuses, who believe in possibilities, that spirit will rub off on you. You'll start to see what's possible instead of what's impossible. There is no power in excuses. Excuses don't make you stronger. Excuses don't sharpen your skills. Excuses don't teach you discipline. What makes you stronger is refusing to use them. What sharpens your skills is practice, persistence, and patience. What teaches you discipline is doing what you say you do, even when it's uncomfortable. Excuses remove you from that process. Excuses protect you from the pain of effort, but they also protect you from the reward of effort. You don't get the prize without the pain. You don't get the growth without the grind. Every too late is a door you close. And the more doors you close, the smaller your life becomes. But the beautiful thing is you can stop closing doors today. You can decide right now that you will no longer use a too late as your crutch. You can decide that even if it looks late, you will act anyway. And the moment you do, you'll find out that many of those doors weren't locked. They were waiting on you to push. Think about the opportunities in front of you right now that you've been dismissing with the excuse of a too late. Think about the dreams you shelved, the projects you delayed, the changes you postponed. None of them are gone. They're still there waiting for you to pick them back up. They're waiting for you to stop excusing yourself and start believing again. Excuses don't protect you. They poison you. A pop and soul. They eat away at your confidence, your hope, your courage. And the longer you hold on to them, the weaker you get. But when you let them go, when you step out in faith, when you choose to act instead of excuse, you grow stronger. You build momentum. You build belief. You build a new habit, the habit of execution. And execution is the enemy of excuses. So stop saying too late. Stop handing your power over to time. Stop hiding behind the comfort of excuses. You are not out of chances. You are not out of time. You are not finished. You're only finished when you stop trying. You're only finished when you surrender to the excuse. But as long as you're willing to push, as long as you're willing to fight, as long as you're willing to act, there's still more for you. Every too late is an excuse. An excuse and excuses are lies. Stop lying to yourself. Stop killing your future with words that don't belong in your mouth. Replace them with truth. Replace them with hope. Replace them with action. Because the moment you stop making excuses is the moment you start making progress. And progress, no matter how small, will always take you further than excuses ever will. When you hear the words, "it's too late," they sound final, like the door has already been closed and locked, like the chance you once had has already slipped through your fingers and can never return. But the truth is, that phrase is more often a reflection of fear than reality. It is the language of hesitation, the vocabulary of people who have let time intimidate them rather than inspire them. Time is not your enemy. Time is not sitting there counting down to the day when it denies you the right to try again. Time is neutral. Time doesn't stop for anyone, but it doesn't stand against you either. The problem isn't that the clock has run out. The problem is that too many people have convinced themselves that the clock was ever against them in the first place. It's too late is an excuse people make when they don't want to deal with the discomfort of starting again. Think about it. Who decides that it's too late? Who draws that invisible line and says, once you cross this age, this season, this year, this opportunity, you can no longer pursue what's in your heart? The truth is, most of the limits we believe in are man-made. Society tells us you should achieve certain things by certain ages. Graduate by 22, be financially stable by 30, married with kids by 35, retired by 60. But life doesn't work according to those rigid formulas. Everyone's journey is different, and so many people have proven that the idea of too late is a myth. Colonel Sanders was 65 years old when he started KFC. Vera Wine didn't design her first dress until she was 40. Morgan Freeman didn't become a household name until his 50s. These examples aren't exceptions. They are reminders that passion and determination don't carry expiration dates. The only expiration date comes when you decide to stop trying. When people say it's too late, what they're really saying is, I don't think I have enough time to fail and start over. But here's the truth. The time will pass anyway. Whether you go after the dream or not, the days will keep moving forward. So wouldn't it make more sense to spend those days trying, learning, growing, and pushing, rather than sitting still and convincing yourself it can't be done? Imagine if you put 10 years into a goal, and at the end of those 10 years, you finally achieved it. Would you really be upset that it took a decade? Or would you be grateful that you didn't give up, that you had the courage to keep pushing long after you thought it was too late? Fear makes us believe in deadlines that don't exist. Fear makes us think, if I don't make it by this age, if I don't succeed by this time, then I never will. But life doesn't work like that. Progress doesn't care how old you are, what stage of life you're in, or how many times you've fallen down before. Progress only cares about whether you're willing to get up and keep moving forward. You might have wasted years. You might have let opportunities slip. You might have made mistakes that cost you valuable time. But none of that changes the fact that you still have today. Today is still available to you. The question is whether you'll use it or spend it mourning what you didn't do yesterday. It's too late is the language of regret. And regret is heavy. Regret weighs you down because it forces you to live in past, replaying what could have been instead of creating what still can be. But as long as you're breathing, as long as you still have energy in your body, you can shift that narrative. You can stop saying, I wish I had started sooner, and instead say, I'm glad I started now. Because the truth is, starting late is always better than not starting at all. The person who starts at 40 and wins at 50 is still ahead of the person who never even tried. Let's be real. Too late is often just a disguise for fear of judgment. People worry that others will laugh at them, mock them, or say they should have figured things out earlier. But when you really think about it, the people who criticize you are never the ones chasing their own dream. They're the ones sitting on the sidelines, projecting their insecurities onto you. The people who matter, the ones who are actually making moves, respect effort at any age. They respect someone who refuses to let life dictate their timeline. So stop worrying about what people think. The truth is, most people aren't even paying that much attention to you. They're too caught up in their own struggles. The only time it truly becomes too late is when you let your mind accept that lie. If you decide you're done, then yes, it becomes too late. But as long as you keep your mind open, as long as you stay hungry, there's always room for growth, always room for progress, always room for transformation. Imagine a tree. A seed planted at the right time grows into a tree, but even if that seed is planted late in the season, it still grows if you nurture it. The soil doesn't reject it because the calendar says too late. It grows when it's cared for. Your dreams are no different. They don't care about deadlines. They care about whether you're willing to put in the work. Life is filled with people who gave up too early because they convinced themselves that the time had passed. They stopped chasing because they were afraid of looking foolish, afraid of being behind, afraid of trying again. And because they quit, they'll never know what they could have become. Don't be that person. Refuse to believe in it too late. Refuse to let the clock control your courage. Refuse to let society's timelines dictate your destiny. Because the truth is, the best time to start was yesterday. But the second best time is always today. So instead of saying it's too late, start saying I'm not finished yet. Instead of saying a time has passed, start saying this is my time. Because every moment you're alive, you have the chance to rewrite your story. You have the chance to take control of your destiny. You have the chance to prove to yourself and to the world that age, time, and deadlines don't decide your future. You do. And the moment you stop believing it's too late is the moment you truly start living. Every time someone says it's too late, what they're really doing is measuring their future against the mistakes of their past. They look back at the wrong turns they made, the seasons where they wasted time, the opportunities they let slip away, and they convince themselves that those mistakes disqualified them from moving forward. But the truth is, mistakes are not proof that you can't make it. Mistakes are proof that you're trying, proof that you've lived, proof that you've taken chances. Every successful person has a trail of mistakes behind them, sometimes more mistakes than victories. The difference between those who win and those who give up isn't that the winners never fail. It's that they refuse to let their falls become their final story. You've got to understand that failure is not permanent unless you accept it as permanent. The person who falls and stays down is finished, but the one who falls and gets back up is still in the fight. Life is a series of battles, and battles are never won without losses along the way. Think of a boxer. He doesn't win every round. He takes hits. Sometimes he's knocked down. But as long as he keeps standing up before the referee finishes counting, the fight continues. It's exactly how your life works. Every setback you had, every decision you regret, every moment you thought was wasted, it's only the end if you choose not to rise again. Mistakes are teachers. They are some of the most powerful teachers you'll ever have because they show you where you went wrong. They highlight the blind spots you didn't see before, and they sharpen you for the next opportunity. If you pay attention, your mistakes will build a roadmap toward your future success. But if you keep looking at them with shame, if you keep telling yourself they disqualified you, then you'll never use them the way they were meant to be used. Every time you fail, you gain knowledge. Every time you fail, you learn something that the old version of you didn't know. That means you're wiser now, more equipped now, more ready now than you ever were before. The people who convince themselves it's too late after failure are the ones who miss the beauty of growth. Growth doesn't happen when everything goes smoothly. It happens when you stumble and have to figure out how to stand again. That process is painful, yes. Frustrating, yes. But it's also the process that makes you stronger. Look at a seed. A seed has to break open before it becomes a tree. That breaking isn't the end. It's the beginning. Your mistakes work the same way. That breaking moment, that time when you thought it was all over, could actually be the very moment where your real transformation begins. Think about all the people who turned their worst failures into their greatest comebacks. Steve Jobs was fired from the very company he created, and he could have said it was too late to start again. Instead, he used that season to innovate, and years later, he returned to make Apple greater than ever. Walt Disney was told he lacked imagination, failed multiple times, and went bankrupt before creating one of the most powerful entertainment empires in history. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before perfecting the light bulb. These people weren't successful because they avoided mistakes. They were successful because they refused to let mistakes define them. They didn't look at their setbacks as proof that it was over. They looked at them as lessons on how to push forward. Your past mistakes don't erase your future potential. In fact, they can amplify it. When you've been through failure, you carry scars. And those scars aren't weaknesses, they're proof of resilience. You that you survived, that you endured, that you're capable of more than you thought. Every scar tells a story of a time when life tried to break you, but didn't succeed. So instead of hiding them, wear them with pride. Let them remind you that if you made it through then, you can make it through now. Here's the real danger of believing it's too late. You let your past mistakes chain you to a life of regret instead of redemption. Regret is a heavy prison. It keeps you rehearsing the same failures over and over again in your mind until you no longer have the strength to imagine a future. But redemption says, yes, I failed, but I can rise again. Redemption says, I may have wasted time, but I can still make the time I have left meaningful. Redemption says, my story is not over yet. The difference between people who die with regret and people who die fulfilled is not the absence of mistakes, but the willingness to turn those mistakes into motivation. Mistakes also make you relatable. People are inspired by stories of perfection, but they're transformed by stories of failure. When you admit that you failed, when you share how you got back up, you become a beacon for others who are struggling. Your comeback can light the path for someone else's journey. But if you give up and accept the lie that it's too late, then you rob yourself and the world of the testimony your mistakes were meant to create. Remember this, your mistakes do not define you, your response to them does. You can either let them cage you or you can let them catapult you. You can either keep replaying them as a soundtrack of shame, or you can use them as the rhythm that drives you to push harder. Everyone falls, but not everyone gets up. The question is not whether you will fail, it's whether you'll rise. And every time you rise, you prove that it's not too late. So when that voice in your head says, you've already blown your chance, it's too late, talk back to it. Remind yourself that every person who ever accomplished anything worth celebrating had to walk through mistakes, failures, and setbacks. Tell yourself that your mistakes are not graves. They are stepping stones. They are not the end of your journey. They are the raw material out of which your next chapter can be built. You don't erase your mistakes by pretending they never happened. You redeem them by making sure they serve a greater purpose. The truth is, life isn't asking you to be perfect. Life is asking you to be persistent. Life is asking you to get back up when you fall, to squeeze lessons out of your failure, and to keep moving even when it hurts. And if you can do that, then it will never be too late. The only people who are finished are the ones who choose to stay down. But you can still rise. You can still turn your mistakes into miracles. You can still rewrite your ending, no matter how many wrong chapters came before. And that's why it will never be too late for you. People often convince themselves that it's too late because they believe opportunities only come once. And if they miss that first chance, the door is closed forever. But that is not how life works. Opportunities are not one-time tickets that vanish the moment you fail to board the train. Life is constantly presenting you with new chances, new doors to open, new directions to walk in. Sometimes they don't look like the opportunities you imagine. Sometimes they come disguised as setbacks. And sometimes they appear in seasons you never expected, but they are there. The danger is not that opportunities stop coming. The danger is that you stop recognizing them because you've trained your mind to focus only on what you lost instead of what you still have. Every day you wake up is another opportunity. Every sunrise is a chance to make a new choice, to take a new step, to try again. But when people say it's too late, they blind themselves to that simple truth. They look back at the doors that closed and forget that new doors can open. They think the one path they envisioned was the only way forward. And because that path didn't work out, they conclude their journey is finished. But life doesn't give you just one path. Life is more like a forest. There are countless routes, countless trails, countless directions you can go. Some might be longer, some might be more difficult, but every single one of them still leads somewhere. The only way you stay stuck is if you decide to sit down in the middle of the forest and refuse to walk again. Think about all the times in history where people thought the opportunity was gone, but a new one arose. Take Abraham Lincoln. He failed in business, lost elections multiple times, and faced personal heartbreak. Yet every failure created a new chance for him to grow and eventually become one of the most impactful leaders in history. If he had believed it was too late after those early defeats, the world would never have known his legacy. Opportunities didn't stop coming to him. He just refused to stop looking for them. The truth is, opportunities are often born out of disappointment. What you thought was the end may actually be the beginning of something greater. Maybe you didn't get the job you wanted. Maybe your relationship ended. Maybe your plan collapsed. But those endings can redirect you toward doors you would never have noticed otherwise. Sometimes losing what you thought you needed is the very thing that pushes you into discovering what you're really meant for. The pain of a closed door can open your eyes to possibility you would have ignored if everything had gone smoothly. Opportunities also multiply when you act. The moment you start moving, taking even small steps toward your goals, New paths appear. It's like driving at night. The headlights don't show you the entire journey, just the next few hundred feet. But as you move forward, more of the road reveals itself. That's how life works. If you sit still, it feels like nothing is available to you. But when you act, even imperfectly, new chances unfold. The mistake most people make is waiting for the perfect opportunity instead of working with the opportunity they already had. And because they keep waiting for perfect timing, they end up believing they run out of time. Sometimes opportunities don't look glamorous. They don't come with flashing lights or clear signs that say they come as small openings, humble beginnings, quiet chances to practice, learn, and grow. The problem is people overlook them because they don't look like the success they had in mind. But success rarely starts with something obvious. It often starts small. And if you treat those small opportunities with serious, they grow into something bigger. On the other hand, if you dismiss them because they seem significant, you miss out on the doorways that could have led to transformation. It's also important to understand that opportunities are not given only to the young, the privileged, or the lucky. Opportunities are given to those who remain alert and prepared. They favor the people who keep their minds sharp, their attitudes resilient, and their hearts open. The reason some people seem to get more chances in life isn't that life likes them better. It's that they keep themselves ready to seize opportunities when they appear. Preparation creates the ability to see what others overlook. And the more prepared you are, the more you realize it is never too late. Because at any moment you can step into something new. Think about your own life. How many times did you think something was over, only to later discover that life had something else in store? Maybe you lost one job but found a better one. Maybe one dream collapsed. But in chasing another, you discovered a purpose that fit you even better. If you really reflect, you'll notice a pattern. The story never ends with one failure. The only time it ends is when you stop turning the pages. And that means you are always just one decision away from a new opportunity. Another reason people say it's too late is because they imagine opportunities only exist in grand forms, like starting a company, becoming famous, or achieving a massive breakthrough. But opportunities aren't always monumental. They can be as simple as the chance to learn a new skill, to start building healthy habits, to reach out to someone, to create a small project. These smaller opportunities may not seem life-changing in the moment, but they build momentum. And momentum creates larger opportunities. If you focus only on giant doors, you'll miss the smaller ones that were designed to prepare you for the big one. Opportunities also have a way of meeting you at the level of your persistence. Life tests how badly you want something. It won't always hand you the biggest opportunity right away. It gives you smaller ones first to see if you're serious. And if you keep showing up, keep pushing, keep proving, you won't quit, the bigger chances will find you. That's why it's dangerous to stop trying. Because the moment you stop, you also stop the flow of opportunity that were on their way to you. So many people live with the belief that they missed their one shot. They replay that moment over. The business they didn't start, the degree they didn't pursue, the relationship they let go, the choice they were too afraid to make. But life isn't stingy like that. Life doesn't say you had one chance, now it's over. Life says if you're willing to keep moving, I'll keep presenting new doors. They may not look like the ones you missed, but they can lead you somewhere just as great, maybe even greater. You need to remind yourself that opportunity doesn't expire, it evolves. It changes shape as you grow. The opportunity you missed 5 years ago might have been right for who you were then. But the opportunities available to you now are right for who you are today. That's why it's not too late. Because the chances you have now are designed for the person you become through all your struggles, mistakes, and lessons. They fit you better than the old ones ever could. The key is to keep your eyes open and your spirit ready. If you convince yourself it's too late, you'll stop looking. And if you stop looking, you'll miss the doors that are right in front of you. But if you stay alert, you'll begin to see opportunities everywhere. In people, in conversations, in challenges, even in failures. Opportunity is not scarce, awareness is. And once you understand that, you'll realize it's never too late, because life is always handing you another chance to rise. One of the most dangerous lies people tell themselves is that they are too old, too far behind, or too late to make an impact. This lie is poisonous because it convinces people to stop before they even start, to quit before they even try. But the truth is, some of the greatest success stories in history are not about people who started young and finished quickly, but about people who began late, after years of setbacks, disappointments, or delays, and still achieved greatness. The idea that time has passed you by is not reality. It's a mindset. And the beautiful thing about a mindset is that it can be changed. Once you shift how you see yourself, once you stop measuring your future by your past, you realize that it is never too late to rise, to start, to rebuild, or to become everything you were created to be. Age is not a barrier. It is a story. People look at the number attached to their years and treat it like a wall. They say, I'm too old to learn this, or I'm too far behind to try that. But numbers are not walls. Numbers are markers of experience. Every year you've lived has taught you something, shown you something, revealed to you lessons that younger versions of you didn't know. That knowledge, that wisdom, that perspective, it gives you an advantage, not a disadvantage. You see, starting young might give you time, but starting late often gives you clarity. When you're older, you know yourself better. You know what matters and what doesn't. You're less distracted by the noise and more focused on the things that actually count. And that kind of focus is often worth more than time itself. Think about the people who redefine success later in life. Colonel Harlan Sanders was 65 when he turned a small fried chicken recipe into what became Kentucky Fried Chicken, one of the most recognized brands in the world. Vera Wang entered the fashion industry at 40 after failing as a figure skater and working as a journalist. And today she is a global name in design. Morgan Freeman spent decades in small roles before becoming a household name in his 50s. These people didn't say, it's too late. They said, if I'm still alive, I'm still capable. And because they believed that, they achieved what others only dreamed about. The only difference between them and those who quit is not talent or luck. It's the refusal to surrender to the lie of being too late. What you need to understand is that society conditions us to believe in timeline. We're told that by a certain age, we should have graduated. By another age, we should be married. By another age, we should own a house. And by another age, we should retire. And when life doesn't unfold according to that script, many people feel like failures. They believe they missed the train and there's no catching up. But life doesn't operate on society's timeline. Some people graduate at 22 and can't find work until 30. Some people marry at 25 and divorce by 30. Others don't marry until 50 and find lasting love. Some people build a career early, others build it later. The point is, there is no single path, no single clock that everyone must follow. Your journey is unique. Your timing is yours. And as long as you are alive, you are right on time for what is meant for you. You also have to see that age is not the enemy of dreams. It's the fertilizer. With age comes resilience, persistence, and patience. The impulsiveness of youth fades, and what replaces it is a steady determination. That determination is powerful because it allows you to stay in the game long enough to see results. Many young people burn out because they lack patience. They want instant success, and when it doesn't come, they quit. But if you're older, if you've been through storms, you already know that good things take time. That patience gives you the endurance to pursue your vision long after others have walked away. Another myth people believe is that starting late means starting weak, but that's not true. In fact, starting late often means starting smarter. You're not starting from zero, you're starting from experience. All the mistakes, all the lessons, all the wisdom you gather, they become fuel. They become the foundation that allows you to build faster and stronger than someone who has never stumbled. Every failure has prepared you for the season you're in now. And because of that, you are more capable now than you were before. It's not too late. It's actually the perfect time because you finally got the tools you need to succeed. Let's talk about fear. Fear is the real reason people believe it's too late. They're afraid of looking foolish, afraid of starting over, afraid of being judged. They hide behind the excuse of age because it feels safer than admitting they're scared. But the truth is, fear will follow you no matter how old you are. Fear doesn't care if you're 20 or 70. It will always whisper reasons to quit. The only way to silence fear is to move anyway. And when you move, when you take that first step, you discover that fear was nothing but smoke. The reality is always less terrifying than the picture fear paints in your mind. You also have to consider the legacy you want to leave. Too many people let themselves die long before their bodies do because they stop believing in growth. They exist, and they wake up, go through routines, but inside they feel empty because they surrender to the lie that their best days are behind, you know? But your best days can still be ahead of you if you decide to make them. Imagine being 70 and starting something new, building something, inspiring others. Proving that life isn't about how early you start, but about how long you keep going. That kind of legacy speaks louder than any excuse. People don't remember those who quit. They remember those who kept moving. It's also worth realizing that the world needs people who keep going later in life. Young people look up to those who showed them that dreams don't expire. A generation that sees examples of late bloomers learns that it's never too late for them either. When you rise, you don't just rise for yourself. You rise for everyone who will see your story and believe in their own possibility. You might think you're behind, but in reality, you're leading someone else by showing them what perseverance looks like. Let's be honest. Starting late might mean it takes longer to reach certain milestones. It might mean you face more obstacles, but it also means your victory will be sweeter because you refuse to let time defeat you. And every step you take, no matter how late you think you are, is still progress. Progress at 50 is still progress. 60 is still progress. Progress at 70 is still progress. Every step forward is better than standing still, no matter when you start. Think about a marathon. Some runners start strong and finish early. Others take longer, they run slower, but they still cross the finish line. And when they do, the crowd doesn't cheer any less. In fact, sometimes a loud applause is for the runner who kept going even when it looked like they wouldn't make it. Life is the same. Nobody will care that it took you longer. They'll admire that you refused to give up, that you crossed your finish line despite every obstacle. So stop saying it's too late. Stop disqualifying yourself because of age, past mistakes, or missed chances. Every morning you open your eyes, life is giving you another invitation to try again. Every breath in your lungs is proof that your story is not finished. You are not too late. You are right on time for the purpose you still have to fulfill. Don't let the lie of it too late rob you of the greatness still inside you. Because the truth is, it's never too late to dream, never too late to start, never too late to start, never too late to fight, and never too late to win. The question isn't whether you're too late. The question is whether you're willing to rise, whether you're willing to take the step to silence the doubt, to push past the shame of being behind and believe that your journey still matters. Because it does. Your life is not over. Your time is not up. Your future is still alive. And the only thing standing between you and the life you desire is the decision to stop believing in it too late and start believing in it right now. Every day is another chance to become. Every moment is another chance to grow. And if you hold on to that truth, if you choose to walk in it, then no matter where you are, no matter how far behind you think you are, you'll discover that it's never too late to rise, never too late to change, and never too late to live fully the life you were born to live. Life has a way of making us believe that the window of opportunity has closed, that the train has left the station, and that we are too late to achieve the things we once dreamed of. This belief creeps in slowly, through failures, through setbacks, through years passing by, and through the voices of people who tell us to be realistic, to settle, or to stop trying. But the truth is, it is never too late to redefine yourself, to start again, to pick up the pieces, and to chase after the life you want. The idea that time has passed you by is a lie, a trap that holds countless people back from discovering the greatness that is still inside them. Every single day you are alive, you are given another opportunity to do something meaningful, to take a step forward, to learn, to grow, and to rise again. The only time it truly becomes too late is when you decide to stop breathing life into your own potential. Think about it. How many people have told themselves at 30, 40, or 50 years old that they are done? That chance is gone. Yet history and real life are full of examples of people who created their greatest work later in life, who found love after heartbreak, who built businesses after retirement, who turned their pain into purpose when everyone thought they were finished. The lie of it's too late to kills more dreams than failure ever does. Failure still gives you a chance to try again. But convincing yourself that you're too late stops you before you even start. And when you stop before you start, you cheat yourself out of the miracles that could have been yours. The human spirit has an extraordinary ability to reinvent itself. You may not be able to go back and undo the past, but you can take control of what's in front of you. Age is not a limitation. It's a testimony of your experience, your resilience, your lessons. Every scar, every wrinkle, every missed opportunity is not evidence of the end, but proof of survival. You're still standing, you're still breathing, and that means you still have time. The moment you choose to take action, that moment becomes the first day of the rest of your journey. Too late does not exist when determination exists, when hunger exists, when belief exists. The danger of believing it's too late is that it causes you to shrink. It causes you to stop dreaming, to stop fighting, to stop imagining new possibilities. It convinces you that the best version of your life has already passed. So you begin to live in memories instead of creating new experience. You replay old mistakes, you relive regrets, and you resign yourself to what is. But life doesn't reward resignation. It rewards faith, effort, and persistence. The people who rise are not those who have perfect timing, but those who refuse to accept that time had expired on them. The difference between a person who still chases after their calling at 60 and one who stops at 30 is not ability, but mindset. If you have a dream, if you have a desire in your heart, it's not too late, because that desire itself is evidence that something inside you is still waiting to be fulfilled. You wouldn't feel it if it wasn't possible. The universe doesn't put a calling inside you only to mock you. That fire, even if it has been buried under years of disappointment, is proof that you still have purpose. And purpose doesn't expire with age, it only waits for courage. The people who achieve late in life didn't magically get more time than you. They simply decided to stop saying it was too late and started saying it was now. And here's the truth. Starting late doesn't mean finishing small. In fact, sometimes starting later in life means you bring more wisdom, more clarity, and more resilience than you ever could have when you were younger. The young version of you may have had energy but lacked perspective. Now you know pain, you know loss, you know failure, and that means you also know strength, perseverance, and grit. Think of how many lives have been wasted, not because the opportunity wasn't there, but because the belief in possibility had died. A person who refuses to try because they think they missed their chance has essentially buried themselves alive. They walk through the motions of existence, but they have stopped living, stopped dreaming, stopped creating. That is the silent tragedy of believing in a too late. And that is exactly why you must rise against it. Because the moment you let go of that lie, you begin to see new doors open, new energy awaken, and new vision take root inside of you. When you strip life down to its core, what really matters is not when you start, but that you start. What really defines you is not how old you are, how much time you've spent wandering, or how many mistakes you've made, but the fact that you chose to rise again. Every success story worth telling is not about someone who had everything go perfectly. It is about someone who chose not to quit, someone who understood that as long as they were alive, they were not out of the fight. That same resilience belongs to you. It is inside of you right now. The world will always have voices that try to convince you otherwise. Society places people into boxes: too young, too old, too late, too unprepared. But if you accept those labels, you are placing limits where there are none. You are agreeing to be caged by someone else's timeline instead of writing your own. The conclusion then is that you must be the author of your own story. No one else has the right to declare the ending for you. As long as your pen is still moving, your book is not finished. And let's talk about time, because time is the excuse most often used. People say they wasted too many years. They should have started earlier. They don't have enough left. But time is not an enemy, it is a resource. Yes, it is finite. But what matters is not how much time you've lost, but how much you choose to make of what remains. A single year of focus can accomplish more than a decade of hesitation. A single day of courage can redirect the path of an entire lifetime. A single moment of decision can break the chains of years of regret. Time, when used intentionally, is powerful beyond measure. And every second you are alive gives you access to that power. Think of the alternative: choosing to give up because you believe it's too late. What does that actually create? It creates nothing but regret, nothing but longing for what could have been. You cannot undo the past, but you can certainly sabotage the future by refusing to step into it. And if you spend your days saying, too late, then you guarantee that tomorrow will look exactly like yesterday. But if you decide today that you are still capable, still worthy, still in the fight, then tomorrow becomes an open field, full of opportunities you never would have seen otherwise. At the heart of all of this is courage. Courage to silence the voices of doubt. Courage to take one more step even when you feel behind. Courage to endure the whispers that tell you you're foolish for trying. Courage to accept that the journey may be hard, but that the reward of living with no regret is greater than the comfort of surrender. The conclusion is not that life is easy. It is that life is worth fighting for. Even when the fight comes later, then you plan. What you need to carry with you is that every ending is also a beginning. What feels like the close of one chapter may be the very doorway to another, richer one. Too often we mourn the years that are gone instead of celebrating the years that are still ahead. Imagine what your life could look like if instead of counting the days you lost, you invested in the days you have left. Imagine the peace of looking back one day and saying, I didn't stop. I didn't give up. I refuse to believe it was too late. That sense of fulfillment is priceless, and it is earned by refusing to surrender the time. And here's a truth that should not be ignored. The world still needs you. Your story, your experiences, your struggles, and your victories are not just for you. They are lessons, they are lights, they are guideposts for others who are walking their own paths. Someone out there is waiting for your voice, your action, your creation, your contribution. Believing it is too late doesn't just rob you. It robs everyone who could have been touched, inspired, or changed by your decision to rise again. This life is bigger than just your fears, bigger than just your regrets. It is about the impact choosing to keep moving forward. So as we close, imagine standing at the end of your life, looking back. Would you rather see a life where you stopped early, where you let it too late to define you, or a life where you pushed, where you kept trying, where you surprised yourself with what was possible even when others thought it wasn't? The answer is clear. You want to leave this earth knowing you gave everything you had, knowing you refused to let time or doubt dictate your story. That is the true victory, not the trophies or the applause, but the peace of knowing you never quit on yourself. And so, the final call is this. Stop saying it's too late. Stop using time as a chain. Stop allowing fear to decide for you from this moment forward. Take every day as a new chance, a new beginning, a new opportunity to step closer to life you want. Take risks, make moves, embrace growth, and believe that as long as you have breath in your lungs, your story is still unfolding. The conclusion is not an end. It is an invitation to rise, to act, to fight, to create, to live fully no matter how much time has passed. You are not too late. You are exactly where you need to be to start again. The rest of your life can still be the best of your life if you choose it. The decision is yours. The power is yours. The time is now.